Hi, I'm Laura Owen Sanderson. I'm from the North Wales River Trust. I'm the CEO, and I've been sent to represent Wales today. So in Wales, we've got the overall body is called Afonydd Cymru at the bottom, and they have sent me as a regional representative to talk about some of our work on lakes across North Wales. So instead of talking too much about the science side, I'm going to talk about some of the community work that we've got going on. In North Wales, you can see we cover quite a vast area. I live just under the Llyn Peninsula there in Harlech, when there's a beach and a castle, and that's about it. But you can see Snowdonia. And the rest of the team are all spread out. But the work I'm going to talk about today is on Ynys Môn, which is Anglesey, to those of you who don't speak Welsh, which is in the top corner. Let me have a look. So a little bit about myself. So I had come from a science background originally, and then I moved into the arts. To cut a long story short, I got very ill one day and died and came back, and I decided to start swimming in the Snowdonia lakes to ease muscle aches and pains that I had after I had massive blood transfusions. And the more time I spent in these places, I found that I wanted to protect them. So I started a campaign where the water where I live in Eryri, Snowdonia, is very clear. And I wanted to look at microplastics initially, in clear water, stuff that you can't see from the source to the sea. So I started swimming from Snowdon to the sea for the campaign, and I continued to do that in every national park across the UK. And then COVID hit. Oh, before that, as you can see, that article from the Telegraph, I realised when I was swimming that not every national park is as nice as Eryri. So I ended up with parasites in my stomach, swimming through slurry patches, and I didn't realise until I was in it, in a tide, and you've got to keep going, and sewage outfalls, which are horrendous. So from that, people watched my journey online and they wanted to get involved. And you can see on that map there during COVID, where we couldn't go anywhere, hundreds of people took part in the biggest microplastic study that we'd ever done. And from that, I decided that I wanted to actually go back and try and protect the local lakes and rivers where I live in a more practical way. So this is the one thing that we kind of live by, is that nobody is going to protect any river or lake if they've never experienced it. So one of the biggest things that we try and do is we try and give access to people. So it's not just the scientists in one corner, and it's not just the communities that are like fishing or swimming or kayaking. We try and fuse those two things together. And those people who haven't had the chance to experience wild places, waters, lakes, we try and make sure that since I've become CEO, that's one of our key focuses. Most NGOs will know that you're grant funded. It's very short periods of time. You don't know what's going to happen. So these communities are kind of our ongoing army. So once we've trained them, they'll continue that work so we can collect the missing gaps in the data. So the first project I'll talk about is our pilot study that we've got going on Ynys Môn in 3 lakes. We've got a floating wetland project as a secondary, tertiary treatment. On one of those lakes, we're working with farmers upstream on the tributaries to trial a series of interventions with a floating wetland. On another lake, we have a control lake that is very similar to the other 2. That's just got sondes in it monitoring continuously. And the third lake, we have just a floating wetland. So at the end of that 3-year period study, we're looking at zooplankton levels, trying to increase the biodiversity in that lake. But I will focus on the community element. So as you can see, I'll play that in a second. So we need to get everybody in those communities involved in caring for rivers and lakes. So what we do is we try and give them the hook. So in Anglesey, everybody's dogs were dying from drinking this water, and we live in a very digital age. So there's no way that I can go in highbrow and pitch this to, why would you care? So we try and get them digitally through Instagram, social media with little animations or messages. So I'm going to play, sorry to the scientists, this is not very scientific, but I like it. Could you play this? How do I? And you have to sing it to Islands in the Stream by Dolly Parton.
There's a way to beat this, let me explain. street after 4:30. Islands in the street, this is what they do. Natural filters, soccer ball.
I know that's not scientific.
Lots of tasty food. We rely on each other. From one river to another.
So the purpose of that is to show you that we try and go about, try and let people know why they should care, and we try and break it down. The scientists in here don't grill me later. I know there's a couple of unfactual things, but you get the gist of what we're trying to do. And as part of that, we've done an education model. I don't want to do those education models where we go in and we talk about it, or we go down to the lake and we point at it. I wanted them to try and have a go at creating it. So I spoke to some people in Boston that have done a similar project, and they shared with us their education program, and we adapted it to schools so they could build their own floating wetland models with Daphnia. So they had the Daphnia underneath. I mean, trial and error, some of those kids didn't really look after that Daphnia. So we have to go back to the drawing board on that one. But they grew these wetlands over a period of 6 weeks in the classroom, and they had a control tank where they fed spirulina to the Daphnia and into the control tank, so they could see the two differences between them. I'd like to say the ones that survived now live in the local school pond, so they are okay. But this really engaged the kids before, so they understood about the project before they went to look at the wetland, so that was particularly helpful. In the communities, we've done smart rivers hubs with wildfish. We've got a whole community group that regularly test that for us. And the people that we really wanted to get an understanding of what the lake used to be like historically, and those people are often in care homes and have limited access to actually get down to the river. So we did a program that was a care home program where we went in and we did a gardening program. So they grew wetland plants for us that we're going to put in suds networks across North Wales. And in doing that, we were able to get their stories historically about the river, their families, the changes they've seen. So that was really beneficial for us. It does look a little bit like a sweatshop there, but I can guarantee it's not. They had a really great time. And with the farmers in the area, that's Niels Caulfield, that's actually his photograph, we have helped landowners and farmers by offering free workshops. So they're looking at soil infiltration and health. And the way we've pitched that is not, we have to find a common ground. So it's things that they can do that actually help them on their farms, help them to kind of save money, meet their targets and the new schemes that are coming in. So we have a farming specialist that goes in and works with them, and ultimately we all want the same thing, but it's targeted more towards helping them on their farms rather than help us improve rivers. But ultimately it has the same thing. The local anglers have worked with local school pupils to teach them their knowledge, and they've come up with storybooks that's going to be published bilingually in the national park. Another project that we're doing, which is really popular, is called Swimways, based on fish migration. So we've trained hundreds of people locally to be accredited snorkel guides and divers. And by doing that, they're trained, they're insured through BSAC, so I can talk to anybody who wants to do this at another point. And they're helping us do habitat mapping, looking at invasive species, and kind of filling in those missing gaps. But it also gets them out into waters so they could care, but they're insured, accredited, so it's a really good scheme. We've got 122 members in our current BSAC club. 98 of those are accredited, with 29 that are accredited official surveyors that can teach others, with 18 accredited guides, snorkel guides. So similar to what you heard earlier from the Lough Erne partnership, the storytelling element and being able to share that with others. This means that if this project is no longer funded, these people are still kind of out there and able to continue this work. Another project that I'll touch on lightly because of time is Project Torgoch. This is about the Arctic char in Snowdonia. There's 3 native populations in 3 lakes, and they're kind of genetically distinct populations, I should say. Again, the issue that we have is climate change, warming waters. We found one lake that's potentially going to be more suitable for a sanctuary for the Torgoch. So part of that, we've done paleontology studies, taking the community out to do core sampling, looking at nutrient build-up over the last 100 years to see kind of where the issues of kind of going right back to the basics and collecting that baseline data initially. We've done a hatchery program with the schools, so we were lucky to get some Torgok eggs, and the pupils in a couple of schools were able to hatch the eggs, and then we took them down to the lake to be released. But through that program, they learned about the issues that the Torgok were facing. And as part of that, again, we trained up the community in eDNA sampling, how to carry that out in different lakes. Sorry, I'm turning Irish, lochs, lins. And they are looking at populations of Torgok to find out where they there's not enough baseline data to tell us where those populations are. So we have those being taken by community citizen scientists. And also, and I'm told by our science team that this is scientific, but they go out snorkeling for perch, looking at invasive species of fish. We're still trying to tighten up the methodology for that, because obviously the fish see you coming and they're off, and then how many do you count? So we're currently in the middle of sorting out that training program. And part of that, we're working with artists on animation projects. We've got a installation at the lake. This is the artist, but it will be similar to that on fish, to kind of inspire people to be outside over the winter and spot the spawning events. And the last thing I'll end with, because I'm over time, is our river wrapping sessions. So finding the hook. So this is one of our biggest council estates in North Wales. They live alongside a river, actually, and it's part of an Esby Fairburn project we're working on. But we really struggled to get different people involved. It's the same kind of middle class people, echo chamber, that keep coming. So I thought about what they wanted to do. So there was a local rapper that lived on the estate who's just been on BBC Radio Sounds. So we developed a program where he did river rapping sessions. So he taught them to rap. And in doing so, they had to learn about the river. Then they had to go down to the river. And they're currently in the process of making a music video to outcompete the Irish music video those kids did. So that's the goal. I would say finding the hook. I will stop there because I don't want to overrun too much. But part of that, we've also trained up ambassadors called Labdour, and that's a long-term commitment they've signed up to protect our waters. So we've trained them, they've set up their own river hubs across our catchment, and they help us deliver on the ground. So my ending statement would be, kind of build on that, protect what you love, and get more people out into the waters, and ultimately you'll have an army of people that can bring about change. Thank you.